3102 BC, during the era of the Mahabharata, the world witnessed one of the most brutal and devastating wars ever recorded in Hindu mythology. This war, known as the Kurukshetra War, was fought between the Pandavas and the Kauravas, two branches of the Kuru dynasty. It was a war for righteousness, but also one of unspeakable violence, where the lines between good and evil blurred in the chaos of battle. After 18 days of relentless fighting, the war finally comes to an end, leaving the battlefield covered with the bodies of fallen soldiers. But just when it seemed like the horrors were over, a warrior named Ashwatthama gathers all his power and fires a lethal shot at the princess, aiming to kill her unborn child. At that moment, the legendary Lord Krishna appears, scolding Ashwatthama for his heinous actions. In a fit of rage, Ashwatthama attacks Krishna, but Krishna easily overpowers him. As punishment, Krishna removes the divine gem from Ashwatthama's forehead and curses him with immortality in a decaying body. His redemption will only come when he protects the woman carrying the god Vishnu's 10th reincarnation. And so, 6,000 years pass, bringing us to 2898 AD. The world is now a post-apocalyptic nightmare after decades of wars and pollution. Kashi is the last standing city, ruled by a 200-year-old tyrant, the god king Yaskin. He lives in a massive, inverted megastructure hovering above the city, extracting resources from the planet to sustain the wealthy, while the rest of the city suffers in poverty. In this dystopian world, those who can pay 1 million units live in luxury within Yaskin's gated community. Meanwhile, the less fortunate endure unimaginable hardships. When a truck arrives, bringing a group of prisoners, a guard scans all the women, even little girls, to see if they're fertile. Every fertile woman is taken to the complex to be used in Project K, a horrific experiment designed to prolong Yaskin's life using a serum made from artificially inseminated fetuses. But no woman has survived more than 120 days of pregnancy. When a desperate father protests as his daughter is taken away, the guards strike him down. A boy tries to bargain for another girl's life, but before he knows it, Raya is already running. Suddenly, she's caught by Rumi, who takes her to a secret spot where he reunites with the rebels from the hidden city of Shambhala. There, they meet a pregnant woman named Divya. Rumi uses a special stone to test her womb, but it doesn't light up, meaning her baby isn't Vishnu's reincarnation. Just then, the guards, known as raiders, attack, descending from the ceiling and opening fire. In the chaos, the stone falls and breaks, and Raya quickly picks up the inner piece. While the rebels drag Raya away, Rumi bravely fights off a raider with his staff, but he and Divya are ultimately captured. Moments later, the two are taken to the complex, where Rumi is confronted by a massive beast. Commander Manas stops the beast and threatens to kill Divya if Rumi doesn't reveal the location of Shambhala. Divya, knowing she'll be killed anyway, urges Rumi not to talk. Without hesitation, Manas shoots her. Rumi tries to speak of the god's wrath, but Manas silences him with another shot. Meanwhile, the raiders continue their pursuit of the remaining rebels, leading to a fierce shootout in the streets. Just as it seems all hope is lost, an AI car named Bougie, driven by the bounty hunter Bhairava, appears, blocking the raiders' shots. Bhairava, however, is unfazed by the action, falling asleep right after his grand entrance. The raiders try to lure him with more money, but Bhairava just plays some music, does a little dance, and throws a small explosive that sends the raiders tumbling. But it's just a light trick. The enraged raiders shoot at him, only to find that Bhairava is a hologram. As he reappears at various spots, the raiders frantically attack each image. When the real Bhairava finally shows up, he breaks a man's special suit, sending him flying against a bridge. The last standing raider hits Puji, prompting Bhairava to punch him so hard that he flies through a building. More raiders arrive on the bridge and capture Luke with a rope, but Bhairava uses his special boots to make a huge jump, kicking the raiders off the bridge. However, one raider climbs back up and starts fighting Bhairava, while a second raider joins in. Together, they grab Bhairava and push him into a landing inside a movie den. Bhairava quickly grabs a VR helmet and puts it on one of the raiders, distracting him. When the other raider attacks, Bhairava dodges, causing the two raiders to hit each other. He then easily defeats them both on the bridge, but more raiders keep coming. Exhausted, Bhairava throws a powerful punch, taking them all down at once. Two men cling to him as he falls, but Bhairava uses them to land safely and knocks them out. Afterward, he demands his payment from the group leader, noticing a holy symbol hanging from his belt. Meanwhile, in the complex, the captured women endure a monotonous routine of tasteless yet healthy food and being locked up all day. Manas oversees the insemination process, which involves painfully injecting the women through their bellies. The lead scientist, Yuri, explains that none of the women survive past the first few months, but Manas coldly orders him to extract the serum anyway, even if it's too soon. One of the pregnant women is placed inside a machine, and a mechanical tentacle connects to the band on her stomach, extracting the serum. The process instantly kills her, and her body is callously thrown into the incinerator. Yuri takes the bottle of serum and accompanies Manas to see the king. Counselor Bonnie controls a massive statue that carries them into the royal chambers, where they present the serum to Yaskin. Yaskin injects it into his body and at first collapses, but soon rises again, announcing that the serum has been poisoned. Enraged, he grabs Yuri, who reveals a hidden knife and stabs the king in the chest. But Yaskin is unfazed, feeding Yuri his tears, which kill him instantly. Yaskin then orders Bonnie and Manas to find a woman who can carry the serum long enough for it to develop properly. In the women's chambers, a maid named Sumathi is still shaken after witnessing the woman's death. She checks her own belly, revealing that she's been pregnant for over 120 days, a secret she's kept hidden. Another maid, Lyle, notices Sumathi's condition and wants to inform the scientists, but Sumathi convinces her to wait. Unfortunately, the scientists announce another round of tests for all the maids, and Lyle sends a guard after Sumathi anyway. When Manas learns of her advanced pregnancy, he immediately orders an extraction. Meanwhile, Bhairava uses his bounty money to buy a real egg, an incredibly rare commodity. Luke asks him to join his team, but Bhairava refuses, believing that there are no good people in war. He shares a story from his past. He was a war orphan, adopted by a soldier who taught him how to fight, gamble, pilot, and fix machines. But one day, that same man tried to sell a young Bhairava to the complex. Bhairava, however, betrayed him first and sold the soldier to the guards. At that moment, Bhairava is surrounded by men demanding he pay his debts. Roxy suddenly appears, quickly knocking the men out before asking for her money too. She and Bhairava engage in a playful fight, with Bhairava constantly flirting with her. But Roxy, tired of his lies, leaves. Bhairava follows, swearing he loves her. Though Roxy doesn't believe him, she agrees to take him to the complex. Later, Roxy uses her limited work permit to register Bhairava as a visitor for 60 minutes. Once inside the complex, Roxy starts her shift in the generator room, but Bhairava drags her away to the beautiful area where the rich live. They enjoy fresh fruit, ride horses, and see the ocean for the first time. But they must keep moving, as a drone guards the area. That night, they crash a fancy party, enjoying good food and teaching the guests how to dance carefree. But when Bhairava accidentally causes a statue to fall, guards surround him and kick him out. Meanwhile, Bonnie is called to the desert, where his workers have discovered a legendary bow buried in the sand. At the same time, Raya is being chased by a raider and a robot. She escapes the city, reaching the desert, where she falls into a hole and ends up in a mysterious cavern. The robot continues its pursuit, and Raya hides inside an old chamber. But the robot finds her, grabs her by the leg, and throws her against a column. Suddenly, an old man steps out of the shadows. The robot shoots him, but he remains unharmed. The old man destroys the robot with his staff, and Raya passes out. When Raya wakes up, she sees the old man bleeding, but he doesn't seem to care. They chat briefly, and Raya realizes he speaks an old version of their language. She asks him to join the rebels, but he refuses, saying he only fights for one person. Back at the complex, Sumathi is put inside the machine, and the mechanical tentacle connects to her stomach. But this time, the power begins to fail, triggering an alarm. Bonnie checks on the bow, and when he tries to grab it, a surge of power sends him flying. At the same time, the old man in the cave has a powerful vision, and Raya's stone begins to glow. The man grabs it and places it on his forehead, confirming that he is Ashwadama, now much older. The power malfunction causes Sumathi to be ejected from the machine. As she slides toward the incinerator, Lyle grabs and rescues her. It turns out that Lyle is an undercover rebel. The women start climbing through the tunnel network, but are discovered by two guards. Lyle bravely jumps on one guard, pushing him off the bridge, and throws the other through a door, holding it closed so Sumathi can escape through the tunnel. Sumathi makes it out of the lab, but when she tries to take a step, she triggers a trap that sets off flamethrowers. With guards in pursuit, Sumathi holds her pregnant belly and walks through the flames. miraculously unharmed. The guards try to follow but are burned down, while Sumathi collapses once she reaches the other side. By the time Manas arrives, the rebels have already taken Sumathi away. In town, lightning strikes a building, and the resulting flames break off a piece of the wall. Bhairava catches it just in time, revealing a religious symbol on the other side that starts glowing. The next morning, Manas meets with Bani, who shows him the legendary bow made by the gods. Meanwhile, Sumathi wakes up in a rebel vehicle and learns they're taking her to Shambhala. Suddenly, the vehicle is stopped by raiders. The rebels pretend to be random scavengers, but a guard insists on checking the back. At first, he finds nothing, but then realizes it's a hologram. The rebels quickly kill both raiders, but an alert has already been sent, so they must leave quickly. The alert is received by Bhairava, who immediately heads into the desert to hunt down the rebels for the bounty. Another raider finds them first, so Rebel Kira releases a hoverbike and rides it behind the enemy vehicle. She drops a small bomb and jumps away just before it explodes, killing the raider. But more raiders soon appear, chasing after the rebel vehicle. A gunfight ensues, and Kira tries to speed up, but she crashes, destroying her hoverbike. A raider manages to jump inside the rebel car and knocks Aju out. Before he can harm Sumathi, Kira swings in and starts fighting the raider in a hand-to-hand battle. After a few hits, Kira pushes the raider off the car, but he uses a rope to catch her leg and tries to drag her out too. Sumathi catches her just in time, and Aju comes to help, but Kira says goodbye and lets go of their hands. When she's close enough to the raider's car, she triggers an explosion, sacrificing herself to bring them down. Minutes later, Bhairava arrives but is pursued by a collector who wants his money back. The collector rams his car into Bhairava's, forcing Bhuji to transform into an aircraft to escape faster. But she malfunctions and they crash, forcing her to revert to car mode. Meanwhile, a swarm of drones follows the rebels, who open fire to bring them down. One drone crashes into a giant statue, breaking its hand, which falls and blocks the road. The raiders surround the rebel car, shooting down Aju. But before they can do more damage, Raya appears with Ashwathama. The soldiers open fire, but their shots are useless against Ashwathama, who leaps in and defeats them all in seconds, effortlessly bending weapons and throwing raiders left and right. Once all the enemies are down, Ashwathama kneels before Sumathi, recognizing that she is carrying the god's next reincarnation. At that moment, another raider fires at them, but Ashwathama rips off a piece of metal to use as a shield. As more raiders arrive, Bhairava also appears, quickly taking them down within minutes. But then, Ashwathama grabs Bhairava and throws him to the ground. Bhairava uses his hologram device to create multiple copies of himself, momentarily distracting Ashwathama, but Ashwathama soon catches on and uses his power to locate the real Bhairava, overpowering him effortlessly. Bhairava, realizing he's outmatched, takes out special handcuffs and tries to restrain Ashwathama. But a furious Ashwathama smashes the cuffs and uses his power to make them explode, restarting the fight. Once again, Bhairava is easily overpowered. Just as Ashwathama is about to deliver the final blow, Bhuji intervenes, hitting him with full force. Ashwathama stops Bhuji with his foot and destroys her with a swift move. Bhairava jumps onto a pillar, causing part of the bridge to collapse on Ashwathama, but Ashwathama simply rises through the debris, unscathed. Bhairava then tries to trap Ashwathama with chains, but the old warrior uses them to bring down the entire building. News of Ashwathama's return quickly reaches the complex, and Bonnie concludes that the prophecy is coming true. If they don't kill Sumathi's baby before the eclipse, Yaskin will be in grave danger. Sometime later, the rebels return to Shambhala, where they must teach Ashwathama that these guards are on his side. Some rebels are skeptical that Sumathi is the chosen mother. But just then, it starts raining, a miraculous event after decades of drought. The rebels see this as a sign, and the gong is struck to announce that the prophecy is unfolding. In the desert, Bhairava wakes up, surrounded by guards who inform him that he's blacklisted and permanently banned from the complex. He returns to his apartment, ready to give up on life, but Luke offers to vouch for him and get him into Shambhala. Bhairava agrees, though a flashback reveals that he's plotting something. In reality, he made a deal with Manas in the desert. If he captures Sumathi, he'll be allowed back into the complex. Now, Bhairava begins working on fixing and improving Bhuji to prepare for his departure with Luke. In Shambhala, the rebels hold a ritual to celebrate their culture and honor their fallen warriors. But suddenly, Sumathi has a terrifying vision, seeing countless dead bodies around her, causing her to doubt her place there. Raya asks Ashwatthama about the old war, and he explains how he lost to the prince with the holy bow, but was saved by his brother Karna, the original owner of the staff. Ashwatthama then notices that Sumathi is trying to leave, fearing she's putting everyone in danger. He gives a powerful speech about responsibilities, convincing her to stay. Soon, Luke and Bhairava arrive at Shambhala, riding Puji. Luke instructs the guards not to shoot, allowing Bhairava to quickly knock them out. Sensing danger, Ashwatthama tries to escape with Sumathi, only to find the bridge blocked by a copy of himself. The two men engage in a fierce battle, appearing evenly matched at first. But Ashwatthama soon overpowers the imposter, revealing Bhairava beneath the hologram. Sumathi attempts to flee, but Bhairava dodges Ashwatthama's staff and tries to grab her. Ashwatthama quickly rescues Sumathi, throwing Bhairava off the bridge. Bhairava recovers, thanks to his hover boots, but Ashwatthama catches him again, throwing him to the ground and destroying the boots. Buji arrives and opens fire, but Ashwatthama uses his power to make her explode, throwing Bhairava into the flames. However, Buji transforms into a robot suit, protecting Bhairava from the fire. As the guards arrive to assist Ashwatthama, a fleet of aircraft led by Manas appears in the sky. Bhairava leaps onto Ashwatthama with his massive metal fists, and for a moment, they're locked in a stalemate. But this time, Buji is stronger and throws Ashwatthama off. Bhairava tries to make his escape, but Ashwatthama rises from the ground, pulling the robot off the bridge. Manas soldiers invade Shambhala, where the rebel guards prepare for battle. The city's force field is holding back the enemy fire from the aircraft, but Manas activates a powerful laser beam that finally brings it down. As the soldiers storm in, the rebels activate a shockwave cannon that disables the aircraft, causing them to crash. A fierce battle ensues between the two armies, but the rebels have an advantage with their hoverbikes and shields. On the streets, people are running for cover as debris falls around them. Bhairava and Buji protect a group of women from being crushed by a collapsing wall. Nearby, Ashwatthama appears, and Bhairava shoots his flamethrower, but Ashwatthama uses a manhole lid as a shield until the flames die out. Ashwatthama jumps onto Buji, prompting Bhairava to use the mechanical arms to throw him off. But when he tries to shoot again, he discovers that Ashwatthama has taken Buji's generator. Using some fabric, Ashwatthama quickly ties up all of Buji's limbs and jumps, causing her to fall. On the main battlefield, Manas fires the laser beam again, causing massive destruction in the city. More aircraft with soldiers arrive, overwhelming the rebels despite their shields. Sumathi is placed inside an aircraft to escape, but the rebel leader, Miriam, makes a daring jump, using energy whips to bring down an enemy ship. When she turns around, Miriam is shocked to see Sumathi still there and tries to contact the aircraft. But at that moment, the aircraft is blown up by Manas, causing Miriam to fall. Sumathi tries to run, but Manas captures her with a mechanical harness, making her float toward him. A rebel drone intervenes, lifting Sumathi away while Miriam jumps onto the enemy ship, taking down a guard. She then whips Manas across the face, but he shoots to disarm her, forcing her to pick up a guard's spear to continue the fight. Manas overpowers Miriam, throwing her back before stabbing her, killing her instantly. The drone carrying Sumathi is shot down, and she falls, but Ashwatthama catches her at the edge of the bridge. Before he can pull her up, her hand slips, and she falls again. But Bhairava appears just in time to catch Sumathi, while Ashwatthama grabs him by the legs. Ashwatthama pulls them back onto the bridge and knocks Bhairava out with a punch. Suddenly, more enemy harnesses fall from the sky, this time trapping Ashwatthama, tying him to the ground. Manas lands and slaps Sumathi, knocking her out before taking her to his ship. Ashwatthama roars in frustration as the holy tree burns in the heart of the city. A single leaf falls, landing on Ashwatthama's staff, causing it to fall into Bhairava's hand. The staff suddenly ignites, waking Bhairava, who is revealed to be the reincarnation of Ashwatthama's brother Karna. With the staff's power unlocked, Bhairava starts shooting flames at the aircraft. When one tries to attack him, he stops it with his bare hand and hurls it back. Using the staff, Bhairava blocks all enemy fire, kicking and punching the aircraft away from the bridge. As he does, Ashwatthama remembers the final battle of the old war. Manas charges the cannon, but Bhairava jumps in, blocking it with the staff before using it to finally kill Manas. His power causes the aircraft to crumble, so he grabs Sumithi and escapes just before the ship crashes. As the bridge collapses, Bhairava's transformation ends, and he returns to normal, unaware of what just happened. He jumps back into Buji to escape with Sumathi, but Ashwathama breaks free of the harnesses and stops the vehicle. After a struggle, Buji activates her extra power, allowing them to fly away. Once again, Ashwathama remembers the day his brother Karna saved him from the prince's attack during the war. Lord Krishna had warned the prince to back off, knowing that Karna was too powerful and destined to make history. Back at the complex, Bonnie gives Yaskin the only drop of serum they managed to extract from Sumathi before she escaped. Yaskin injects it into his body and immediately feels a new power surging through him, making him young again. With his newfound strength, Yaskin grabs the bow without being harmed. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on more videos like this. Thanks for watching!